This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Friday, July 29th, 2016. The title of this rant will be Who Loves America, from the article by Dr. Paul Krugman in the New York Times today also. Or as I would like to say, do white Christian Americans really love America? So we just had the DNC convention, just ended yesterday. Let's just call it was a great love fest with America. America is great. And they emphasize that over and over again, but we still have work to do. We still want to make it greater. And if we contrast that a little bit with some of the things that Trump has been saying the last week or so, in reference to Russia, yes, you can take the Crimea. And oh, by the way, if Latvia, Lithuania, or Estonia, if they haven't paid their dues to NATO, it's okay for Russia to go in and take them over because we don't really want to take care of them if they haven't paid to their dues, so to speak. Now, Trump tried to play this off as being a big joke. But, you know, these types of things are basically at the heart of the GOP. Now, what we've seen here in the last 8 years, and of course the last 30 to 40 years, mostly from the Republicans, the last 8 years, let's say a tremendous amount of race baiting against Obama, basically declaring unequivocally that both Barack and Michelle hate America. And what we're really seeing here is someone who is defining their love of America as it being the way it used to be, and they're feeling that that is the way it should be now, which Dr. Krugman defines, that's not love of America, that's tribal love. And he goes on to point out that when Michelle was talking about slaves who built the White House, there was immediate pushback from the Republican the Republican media machine, mostly Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly. Rush said they always have to bring up slavery, and Bill O'Reilly basically who said that the slaves who built the White House were well fed. Of course, he didn't want to bring up anything about how that they were enslaved, that they were raped, that they were beaten, that they were murdered, that they did not necessarily get good food, they did not necessarily get good housing. You know, the Southern whites who owned slaves didn't do any work at all. The slaves did everything. But what this was basically saying by Bill and Rush is, hey, don't criticize white people. You know, it's not your place to criticize white people. And of course, they have that same mentality when they're talking about radical Islamic terrorism, which Trump has been pounding quite a bit upon. Now, we know that just by saying those words doesn't change anything, but the definition of what it means to those Republicans and to those white people is basically it's white Christians versus everyone else. Because remember, when you're white and you're Christian and you read the Bible and all that stuff, the Bible always has to have a fall guy. You know, it has to be Satan. It has to be Lucifer. It has to be Beelzebub. Is that it? Was that a bad one? I don't remember. But again, it's always us versus them. And if you can define another race as completely radical Islam terrorist, then you define everyone in it. And of course, it defines white Christians as being morally superior. So that's what's going on there. And now, just to get back to the bromance between Vladimir and Trump, we know that Trump's campaign manager has had a tremendous amount of business interests in Russia. Trump has had business interest in Russia, and there's someone else that's big in the campaign, I can't remember his name right now, also who has huge interests in Russia. And the question is, are they doing Russia's bidding for them right now? Because when you think about taking over the Crimea, which was started a war over there in the Ukraine, or also that it's okay to invade one of the Baltic states if they haven't paid their dues, so to speak. And the thing that is most disconcerting that Dr. Krugman points out, I wholeheartedly agree, is that we're not hearing the kind of pushback that should be coming from the Republican elites, who really can't stand Trump. Because let's just put the shoe on the other foot. If a Democrat had been advocating that it would be okay to invade a Baltic state, that it would have been okay for Russia to continue to try to take over the Crimea, there would be astronomical pushback on the Republican side, especially in terms of treason, especially in terms of America's commitment, especially in terms of America's exceptionalism, that we are the world's police keeper. But we're not hearing that at all. And so what that basically is saying is that they're okay with it. And why are they okay with it? Because everything about the Republican Party really has not been about America and nationalism or patriotism. It has been tribal. It has been about the white Christian tribe. And as we saw from the Democratic Convention, a tremendous amount of people of color there, and didn't see that at all in the DNC. These are the fault lines that are going to be going on in this upcoming election.